Hey, my name is Nick. I'm the roaster at Wellbeing Coffee in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Today I want to talk to you about the French press brewing method. So the French press is both the brewing method and the brewing device. It's a great way to brew coffee because it's simple and forgiving, and it produces a nice rich mouthfeel and accentuates some of the more pleasing aspects of a medium and dark roast. So to get started, it's very simple. First, you need a French press, obviously. They'll come in different shapes and sizes, but most of them will look pretty similar to this. A glass container with a mesh filter. So the mesh filter will be plunged after the coffee is done brewing, but for now we'll leave it off. I'm going to be using hot mess, which is a medium dark roast, and we're going to be using coarsely ground coffee. You want coarse because it's a longer brewing method, and in contrast to a drip brew, where gravity is doing most of the work, the water goes on top of the coffee and seeps through the coffee bed into the brewing device. And a French press is called a full immersion brew, which means the coffee and water are going to be immersed with each other throughout the entire brewing process. For that reason, you want coarser ground than you would for a drip, because it's a longer brew time and it's in more contact with the water.
You're not making any sense at all.
I can explain everything!
All right, here I've got 3 different grind profiles for you. The one on the far side here is what we'll be using for a French press. This is pretty appropriately ground on the coarse side, a little bit coarser than what you would use here in the middle, let's say, for a drip brewer or a percolator. Then on the far right hand side here, a little finer than that even, which would be appropriate for something like a mocha pot. As a general rule of thumb, and this is a very straightforward, simple recipe, I like to use 2 pretty good sized tablespoons for every 8 fluid ounces of water. So I'm going to be using 32 ounces of water. I just use 8 scoops. And if you have a kettle, that's great. You don't need a kettle though. Any type of device will work. Just pour the water straight in. Just give a little stir to make sure that everything is nice and homogenized. And what I like to do is just set the filter on top of the coffee so that it retains as much heat as possible during the brewing process. So I set a timer for 4 minutes, and then in 4 minutes, we'll plunge it. All right, it's been about 4 minutes. So this standard recipe, 2 heaping tablespoons per 8 fluid ounces, about 4 minutes for the brew, and then we're ready to plunge. So plunging is just simply very slowly moving this metal filter through the French press. And you want to take it nice and easy and even and slow so that the grounds don't escape through the side of the filter and potentially make it up to the top of the French press, which could then make it into your cup. So you want the filter to push all the grounds to the bottom of the French press, and all you have left on top is the delicious liquid. Okay, filter pressed. So what I like to do is just keep a couple fingers on top to make sure this doesn't move around a lot, and slowly pour from the French press into the cup. And again, pour slow so that the grounds don't have any possibility of coming back up to the top. And you should have a lovely cup of French press coffee with some oils and delicious mouthfeel. Very nice.
I know!
Now there will be quite a bit of oil and potentially a teensy bit of silt on the bottom of the cup depending on how fine you ground the coffee, but that's totally normal and some people enjoy it. So this is our French press coffee. Cheers.